First, Roger starts with a thriller called The Hitcher.
Here is a movie that pretends to say one thing and is really saying another thing altogether. The Hitcher tells the story of a young man who's driving alone through the deserts of the Southwest when he picks up a mysterious hitchhiker, a man who is a mass murderer and who has somehow decided to frame this kid with his crimes. Here's the scene that sets up the movie as the young man begins to figure out how much trouble he's in.
What's so funny?
That's what the other guy said.
Who's the other guy?
The guy who was driving that car back there. The guy who picked me up before you did.
Was that him in the car?
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Couldn't have walked very far.
Why is that?
Because I cut off his legs. And his arms.
And his head. And I'm gonna do the same to you.
That's Rutger Hauer as the hitchhiker. He turns into a Superman in this movie, able to be everywhere and know everything, and in this scene survives suicidal stunts.
Hi, kid.
Now, it looks in that scene like The Hitcher is a high-speed action movie, and it is. Technically, it's very well made. That scene was well made. But what is this movie saying? That older man tortures that boy all through the movie. He plays tricks on him, he tries to kill him, he frames him for murder, he kills his girlfriend. He completely takes charge of that young boy's life. He is evil personified. And at the end of the movie, what happens? Something very sick happens. There is the unmistakable implication that that kid sort of liked that treatment and that he might become the next Hitcher. Later in the show, we have a movie named 9½ Weeks that's gotten a lot of publicity for its story of kinky sex. But if you look beneath the surface of The Hitcher, this movie is 10 times more perverted, more heartless, and more cruel. It's a deeply cynical movie that doesn't even have the courage to admit what it's really about, which is gay sadomasochism. And I don't know which I hated more in this movie, the cynicism or the dishonesty.
Well, Roger, I can't quantify the hatred I have for this movie, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
Because I get paid to do that. Very early on, and we saw that first scene, the dismemberment scene. That's the hook. We're supposed to now get interested. This guy's tough. We didn't need the explicit. I didn't even like the language used of this dismemberment. That's how short my fuse has become on violence when I see it in service of something that is nothing more than violence. This film is nothing more than a dozen ways to chop up a person. That's really all it's about. And there's a scene in here, and I want to get real specific about it, where a woman is tied up between two trucks, and I'm figuring there's no way that they're going to actually have the guy step on the... I never thought I would ever see that in a movie. She's pulled, her limbs are pulled apart. This is what American movies have come to.
And although she's brought in allegedly as the love interest, there was never any love interest between her and the kid, because all of the love interest in this movie, and the movie is not honest enough to admit it, is between these two people, and they're using this violent game as some sort of perverted sex in a way that the movie will not acknowledge.
And I want to acknowledge some of the people behind this movie, because I always like to have them come out from behind the rocks. Silver Screen Partners, which is basically a tax shelter deal, HBO Films, new to the making of movies, and TriStar, a relatively new film company. These are all new, fresh money in Hollywood. And they're all new, fresh money, and they've all been taken for a ride, and they're all taking us for a ride. They're putting garbage on the air, and that's what happens sometimes with these new people playing the movie game.
I don't think we like this movie. Coming up, we gave 2 thumbs down to The Hitcher, the disgusting exploitation of perverted violence. We hated it.